Hi, this movie is for distant learning, the Pajama Shorts project at Fremont Christian School. We will now adventure into steps 10 and 11. Again, I'm going to do this on only one leg for purposes of shortening the video, but you will do it to both sides, both legs of your shorts. So we're going to begin. This is where we left off. We've attached our pocket. We now can put our hand in the pocket, but don't stretch it out, okay, because this edge will stretch at this point because it hasn't been attached to anything here. But so we have the underneath side of the pocket, the front of the pocket, we've top stitched, and this is what the whole piece looks like, okay? I'm going to lay it down on my table, pretty side up, the right side up. That is what it looks like. Step 10 says, stitch front to back, right sides together at outside leg seam. This is the outside of the leg. This is where you're going to put your hand in the pocket. So remember how I told you to keep your pattern pieces attached, just so you remember what they are. This pattern's a little simple because it's just 3 different pieces, a front and back and pockets, but still it helps us keep attaching the right pieces together. So I'm going to take the piece that is going to match. Here's my outside leg, the back part of my shorts. I can tell the back side of my shorts because the cut is deeper than the front. And now I'm going to match my raw edges, starting at the top. Pinning as I go. Now when I get to this part where I have all these seams coming together, do you see them there? Okay. I just want to make sure that they're all laying flat, that they are all as close as you can to having raw edges even. Okay. Pin that really well there, and then continue pinning up here. Now when I'm gonna get to this place here where I have the inside of my pocket, I do not want to catch this in my seam. Otherwise I'll sew that pocket that I made shut, and I don't want to do that. So I like to take a pin. It's a little hard, but I like to take a pin and just flip that down one more time, giving myself more room to sew in there without catching my pocket. Now I'm going to continue. Here I should be only pinning through 2 thicknesses, one front and one back. Now I'm back to that spot again where I've got 4 layers, the pocket and the front and the back. Again, I want to get all 4 of those layers even and pinned, and then I'll continue on down my leg seam. And if I did a pretty good job of cutting and sewing, it should match here at the end. You really have a problem if your front or your back is way longer than the other piece. Okay, I have that pinned now. My front and my back together. Here's a tip I learned from my grandmother. I'll teach it to you. In garment construction, it is always best to sew from the bottom to the top. Something about that process helps the garment hang better, and it just looks better and has the right structure. So although I pinned backwards, didn't mean to, but that's okay. I am going to sew from the bottom of my shorts to the top, and I'm just going to sew this leg seam right down here. Okay. Again, what is my seam allowance? It's 1/4 inch. So putting that underneath my foot, lowering the presser foot, pulling out my first pin so not to sew over it, putting my needle down into my fabric, walking a few steps with a mechanical machine. I'm ready to sew. I'm going to tie a knot here. Now, you've just overcasted your pocket seams. That's the last step you did. So you're going to want to, before you sew, set your machine back to the straight stitch. You do not want to be using that zigzag stitch. So here I go. Tie a knot. Actually, I'm going to back stitch there because I don't want that coming apart down there. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It didn't like that. My fabric started to get... You can do something too much. The knot got stuck down in the machine. So be careful of that. Okay. Here we go. Keep going here. Again, I am not watching my needle. I'm keeping my eye on that 1/4 mark so that this is a straight seam. One-4 inch is not very big, so you have to make sure that you have matched your raw edges when you pin, or you will not catch both sides of your shorts. Again, I want to lay the pocket down flat. I don't want to sew it up this way. I want it laying down flat as I start to sew through all of these thicknesses. Just adjusting to make sure my raw edges are still even. I'm sewing past the pocket opening, so this is a little trickier right here. Make sure that you're only sewing through 2 layers of your fabric, but you're sewing through both those 2 layers, and in that area of, as always, your raw edges are even. Now I'm sewing past that notch that I cut. I want to make sure that I don't leave a hole in my shorts there, so again, you cannot cut that too deep. It's a tiny, tiny little slit. To the edge, so I'm back stitching to tie that knot. Cutting my threads as I go, just a great sewing technique so I don't end up with a garment with threads hanging from it. And now I'm going to check and see that I caught my whole seam there. I can open my the 2 legs up take this pin out of the pocket, and I have done it. I can put my hand in the pocket, and this is what it'll look like at this point. So I'm gonna go to the iron. I'm going to press, not iron. I'm gonna press that little tiny seam open. You want to keep your pocket laying towards the front of your short, which is, again, remember, the side that isn't cut out is deep. And we're going to press it open. And with my pocket going, we can just, even if you want, you could just press. I'm going to clip this so it goes that way. And just get that pocket laying that way. Press that open all the way to the bottom. And this completes steps 10 and 11 of your shorts project.